Starting off today with a little appetizer orthographic projections with inclined surfaces drawing. That's not too bad. And first step to any set of orthographic projection engineering drawings is to draw the bounding box. You have to make sure that your drawing is actually going to fit on the page and be the right size when you're done. You don't want to draw the front and right views so close to the top of the page that by the time you get to the top view, you run out of room and don't have anywhere to put it. So I establish XYZ coordinate axes. My length in the Y direction is 6, so my front and top views will be a width of 6. The height from the very bottom to the very top of the drawing is 4, so the height of my front and right side views will both be 4. And that 4 also represents the depth into the page in the X direction, so that dimension is going to be the width of my right-hand view and the height of the top view, because it's sort of reflected across the miter line, which I didn't actually draw, but you get the idea. Front, right, and top side view bounding boxes, I drew them in orange to symbolize drawing them very lightly because they might get erased later on. This isn't necessarily part of the final drawing. I'm just drawing it to make sure that my final drawing will actually fit on the page, be the right size, and generally centered. So if you're given an isometric view that looks like it's not super tough, my recommendation would just be pick one of your 3, front view, top view, right view, just pick one and just finish it completely. And you do that by starting, so if you're on the front view, start from the front and just work your way back, drawing all of your visible faces first, and then your hidden lines afterwards. So on the front view, the front flat, big visible face is this big triangle. So that's the first thing I would draw first, since that's the frontmost thing from the front view. As we work our way back, the next thing that you're gonna see is gonna be this blue visible face, and then that red triangle is actually gonna be a hidden section. I can't just draw that blue face by itself though, because the diagonal line, I don't know exactly where it's gonna go, just the visible portion. Like, I don't know where it intersects the other diagonal line that I've already drawn. So what I'm gonna do first is draw an orange, a really light construction line that goes all the way to the bottom corner. And now with this orange diagonal construction line drawn, you can match up that blue face on the isometric view with this blue face on the front view, and the red triangle on the isometric view with this matching red triangle on the front view. And then I'll draw my visible line on top of it, and I know the visible line stops when it hits the edge of that triangle. And since I already know that the rest of the line will be hidden, I'll go ahead and finish the line as a dashed hidden line the rest of the way. Okay, so there's one part of my front view where there's nothing there yet, this blue triangle. But looking up at the isometric view, you can see that that actually is a cutout. It's a hole that goes all the way through. So this is just gonna remain empty. But there is another actual hole that I still need to draw as well. And drawing circles freehand without an actual tool is pretty tough, as you can watch me kind of struggle through here. The most important thing is to make sure that the center is in the correct location, and then to mark your 4 quadrants, up, down, left, right, with the correct radius. And as long as your circle sort of fits within that radius and touches those 4 quadrants, that's probably gonna be as good enough, or about as good as you can do if you're drawing freehand. Now, if you have a compass or a circular tool, that's gonna be way better. You can draw an actual circle. And for a small circle like this, to finish off the center line, I'll just draw a small little plus in the middle, and then extend lines outwards, up, down, left, and right out from there. Right, center line should be a long, short, long, where I have the 2 short sections cross right in the middle, and then the long sections on either side. Most common mistake for center lines is to end the center line right at the edge of the circle, right? Center lines, though, should actually extend past the edge of the circle. There's no set distance as to how far past it needs to go, just a little bit, whatever looks good. Moving on to the top view, we'll start off by drawing the flat square that's actually touching the very top of this shape. And this blue angled surface, right, this slanted face would also be visible from the top. So even though this line is at an incline, it just appears as a regular rectangle on the top view. Because the top view doesn't show depth, right? It's just a 2-dimensional view. All right, this second blue rectangle that's kind of behind the first one will also just appear as another regular horizontal rectangle on the top hand view. Last thing is going to be the circular hole. So a horizontal circular hole like this one only looks like a circle from the front view. On the right view and top view, it's just going to look like a rectangle. So I draw hidden lines to mark the very left and right side of the hole, and then a center line just right through the middle. The hidden lines start and end with the dash, so I actually have the dash part of the dash gap line starting at the visible lines. But the center line, right, the long section, right, long, short, long, the long sections will cross the visible line. They don't stop right at the visible line like the hidden lines do, they extend past it. No set length for how far past it has to go, just choose kind of whatever looks good. Right hand view next. On the right side, there's a big flat rectangle that's butted all the way up against the right hand side, so I'll draw that first. Then this blue slanted surface next, right? It's an angled face, but from the right hand side, it's just gonna look also just like a regular vertical rectangle. The round hole does go through that inclined surface I just drew, right? It doesn't go across the entire piece, it's only through the right-hand side. So I'm gonna line the hole up with the front view, right? It's at the same height. So the very top and bottom are gonna be marked with hidden lines, and then a center line, obviously, right through the center. So erase all of your hidden lines, and I'm also erasing and redrawing my crooked dashed line on the front view. I'm also making the lines a little bit thinner. It's sometimes hard to control with a pencil, but hidden and center lines should be drawn thinner than visible lines. Visible lines should be the thickest, darkest lines on your drawings. Hidden and center lines should be a little bit thinner. Again, hard to do with a pencil, but since I'm using software, I can just change the thickness of my pen and make them a little bit thinner. And that's it. That's the completed front view, top view, right side view, right? Final orthographic projections for this given isometric view.